Alright guys, so this is going to be another comic review from a comic that was sent to me by my good friend, Mount Vernon Kid, Chris. Hope you're watching this. Thank you again for this comic. And we're going to be talking about Batman TAS, The Adventures Continue Season 2. If you guys remember, I did Season 1 a couple months back, and this got released in trade this week. So, yeah. So, Batman the Animated Series, The Adventures Continue, are the, comics that are, set in the TAS universe, and have been, more or less, Season 1 introduced, the animated series version of Deathstroke, and more importantly, Red Hood, Jason Todd, and created the animated series edition of that version of Red Hood, and Jason, and why we never talked about him. Which, in retrospect, was kind of that still felt really contrived, but I'll let it pass because it was I think they worked it out as best they could. So this comic is, as you can tell from the cover, featuring the Court of Owls, and that was the big draw of season 2 for the comic. Was it's the Court of Owls, it's the animated series version of the Court of Owls. We're finally getting Batman, and we're finally getting the Court of Owls in the animated series universe. And we're also getting Deadman, who Deadman hadn't shown up at all. Deadman was another character who was entering the DC animated universe in this continuity. And we also have other characters that show up too. Huntress also makes an appearance. Yeah, we get a few characters here and there, but really, the big draw that Paul Dini and Alan Burnett, who have been the two big pushes for this comic, was the Court of Owls. Here's the problem, though. Court of Owls are only in 2 issues, and this is an 8... I'm counting the Christmas special, too, where the Court of Owls literally do nothing. They're just here as a vehicle for the bigger story. And I'm counting the Christmas special, too, with Mr. Freeze and Robin. Yeah. For what they were building up with this comic was, oh, it's the Court of Owls. We're finally getting the Court of Owls in the animated series. It's going to be so cool. And they built it up and made you think that this was going to be the overarching story, kind of like what Red Hood was doing with during all the stuff with Luthor, as well as Deathstroke and everything else in between. But they're literally... Now, they're not even considered a threat, really. They're barely even a threat. It's literally just the first 2 issues are literally just a vehicle to get to the main story. And in fact, the story putzes around for 2 one-and-done stories, which, albeit, are not bad. But yeah, the main crux of this story for the next 4 issues of this story arc, or really 3, the next 3-parter for this storyline, is a story feature... Okay, so the main crux of it is that the Court of Owls have seemingly killed Hamilton Mayor Hill, and his son is going to take up the election, even though he has his own skeletons in the closet, against Emerson Mayfield, who was the previous mayor and has some serious, baggage, and he also has, this insane, psychotic, drive to take control of Gotham. But he's not connected to the Owls. Yeah. He's just his own character. And Batman gets in the way of it. So, yeah, literally, very little of the Batman villain show up. Clayface plays a role in here. There is a Batman villain who I'm happy to see, oh, that makes sense why you're here. But even then, he's just, that character... I'm just gonna spoil it. It's fucking Mad Hatter who helps Mayfield, help take over, help try to win the polls in Gotham through mind control and aggression. And I'm that's cool, that makes sense. But even he's, not even a big threat in this comic. He is more, just used as a partner, or even a servant, really. The main focus is also Batgirl in most of the story, which is not bad. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying, they were building this up as a Batman story, and for a vast majority... They also do some weird stuff with Batgirl, which I'm you guys are really kind of doing some creepy shit with her, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah. This was kind of as I was reading this felt really like a slog, as opposed to, the first season, which was so good, of tying in all these multiple story arcs of, like, the stuff with Luthor and Brainiac, and then moving on to, you know, Deathstroke stuff, and then we get on to, like, you know, the big story with Red Hood. And, yeah, this one felt like a mishmash of different ideas, and teases a major villain or villains in here, and they're not even the main focus. Nope, it's elections, because we haven't had enough of that in real fucking life. And also, you're not, like, I know Paul Dini is really good at, you know, satire and doing stuff under the radar. Not here. Like, it just kind of felt like, especially when Joker's talking about, you use scandals and whatever, and you still lost. And I'm like, I'm clearly like, at this point, you've just spelled out what I already figured out with who Mayfield is supposed to be. I don't think I need to say his name, but I'm pretty sure we can all guess who Mayfield is supposed to represent in this comic. So, yeah. It's not bad. There's some good stuff here and there. But this one really felt like a major letdown with everything that happened in Season 1. Like, we get nothing from Season 1 and any build-up there. There are some good stories. Like, I do like the Batgirl Huntress story as... and... yeah, that was a fun one. As well as the Robin and Mr. Freeze story. That was a nice little Christmas special comic. I am hoping... there's been no announcement for a Season 3. I'm hoping we get one so we can get back to, like, Jason and that storyline that got left off. And maybe we can do something with the actual Court of Owls. Because even they say, like, yeah, the court... they barely acknowledge, like, the court's history. They just say, like, it's all been hearsay. And they just jump... they don't do, like, the psychological warfare that the court does. Like, they just are... they're just a vehicle. Like, they're just a vehicle... for, you know, to get this whole election story arc going. It's just annoying. It's just, like, you basically undercut a villain that everyone wanted in the animated series, and you did nothing with it. I kind of expected more from Paul Dini, especially, like, these comics, while they are, you could still call them all for all ages, there's still that kind of darkness, and they do swear. It's kind of like just like a brought back for an older generation comic. But it was a letdown, guys. It was a letdown. And I don't blame Chris. I don't, like, whenever he sends me a comic, even he doesn't know if I'm going to like it or not. Or I don't know if even he'll like it after this. Because he bought it, he got a copy for himself, and I was like, and he asked, like, is it any good? And I was like, it's all right so far. And keep in mind, I was just through the first issue by the time he texted me and asked me how I felt about it. I was like, after this, I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just like a 3 out of 5, and I'm being generous. It's such a drop off from Season 1, and I'm like, you can do better than this, Dini and Burnett. Hopefully we get Season 3. Maybe we can get, like, stuff involving what happened with Jason. We also get, by the way, the introduction of Black Mask, but that's thrown under the rug. Yeah. So, there you go, guys. So, there you go, guys. That is my review for Batman TAS, The Adventures Continue. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think? If you read this comic, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. And once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.